Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 11. 11 chapters entitled The Transcendental Qualities of Vritrasura. Transcendental qualities of an Asura. So these are the surprises in the Bhagavatam. So we'll hear his transcendental qualities in today's verse. Today's verse is verse number 22. Pumsam kilaikanta dhiyam swakanam ya sampado divi bhumau rasayam narati yadvesha udvega adhir madakkalirvyasanam samprayasaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The translation, kindly hear. Persons who fully surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always think of His lotus feet are accepted and recognized by the Lord as His own personal assistants or servants. The Lord never bestows upon such servants the brilliant opulences of the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems of this material world. When one possesses material opulences in any of these three divisions of the universe, his possessions naturally increase his enmity, anxiety, mental agitation, pride, and belligerence. Thus one goes through much endeavor to increase and maintain his possessions, and he suffers great unhappiness when he loses them. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 11th verse, the Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. The translation of this verse, as devotees surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. End of the translation. Both Indra and Vritrasura were certainly devotees of the Lord. Although Indra took instructions from Vishnu to kill Vritrasura, the Lord was actually more favorable to Vritrasura because after being killed by Indra's thunderbolt, Vritrasura would go back to Godhead, whereas the victorious Indra would rot in this material world. Because both of them were devotees, the Lord awarded them the respective benedictions they wanted. Vritrasura never wanted material possessions, for he knew very well the nature of such possessions. To accumulate material possessions, one must labor very hard. And when he gets them, he creates many enemies because this material world is always full of rivalry. If one becomes rich, his friends or relatives are envious. For Ekanta Bhaktas, unalloyed devotees, Krishna therefore never provides material possessions. A devotee sometimes needs some material possessions for preaching, but the possessions of a preacher are not like those of a karmi. A karmi's possessions are achieved as a result of karma, but those of a devotee are arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead just to facilitate his devotional activities. Because a devotee never uses material possessions for any purpose other than the service of the Lord, the possessions of a devotee are not to be compared to those of a karmi. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So these are words spoken by Vritrasura. He is speaking to Indra. Vritrasura actually is a devotee. But due to a curse by Mother Parvati, he has appeared as a asura, a demon. But that does not mean because he has got a demon's body, it does not mean his consciousness is that of a demon. The Bhagavad Gita explains that generally we get our next body according to our consciousness. So Vritrasura in his previous life was King Chitraketu. And before getting this body of a demon in his birth as Vritrasura, he was a great devotee of the Supreme Lord, Sankarshana. He happened to be traveling when he saw Lord Shiva seated amidst saintly persons and discussing obviously some serious spiritual subject matter. But on his lap, his wife, Mother Parvati, was seated. And it seemed like very incongruous. Mother Parvati, of course, can sit in that assembly and hear. She always is engaged in that activity. As Parvati, she's always hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord and Supreme Lord's pure devotees. She's always hearing Bhagavatam actually from Lord Shiva. So she is engaged in her most important activity of hearing. But where is she sitting? She's sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva. So Chitraketu was traveling in the sky and he happened to see Mother Parvati sitting on Shiva's lap, and Shiva is engaged in discoursing or discussing with saintly persons about spiritual subject matter. And very seriously, Shiva is engaged in that. So he felt this is a little incongruous. So he laughed. Mother Parvati became very, very angry. Became very angry. And she cursed Vritrasura. She cursed Chitraketu. Chitraketu, upon hearing that cursing of Mother Parvati, he came down, he went to Mother Parvati, bowed down to her, begged forgiveness. But the curse is already given. And Vritrasura, this Chitraketu said, Mother, I accept the punishment for my mistake. I accept it. And then he took birth as he was cursed to take birth as an asura. But his consciousness has not been polluted because of the curse. And it's incongruous. His consciousness is that of a devotee, and he's taking birth in the body of a demon. Actually, even Prabhupada, Acharyas, they take birth in this material world. They don't take birth. That's not a correct usage in the general sense of the term. They come to this world in order to preach Krishna consciousness, to deliver the conditioned souls, but they accept a human body. They are not meant to accept a human body because this consciousness is completely pure. But apparently they are accepting a human body. So again, it's incongruous. And not only that they accept a human body, but sometimes their behavior seems like another conditioned soul of this world. Not all their actions will be very much like those of a pure devotee. And many times it is difficult for ordinary people to recognize them as great devotees, pure devotees. Very difficult. Neither their external bodily features, nor their behavior, nor their words may be like those of an ideal devotee. Then how can we say they are pure devotees? How can anybody say at all they are pure devotees? This is explained in the Bhagavatam. This secret is explained in the Bhagavatam. Where is it explained? Parikshit Maharaj retired from all his kingly duties when he was cursed and to die within 7 days, and he accepted that. And he retired. He handed over charge of ruling the kingdom to his son. And he went to a holy place and sat there amid saintly persons and said, now I have to prepare for quitting my body within 7 days. Kindly instruct me. What should I do? And the saintly persons, very respectful to this great Rajarshi, he is retired because he's going to die within 7 days and he's going to prepare for it, okay? But his question was, I want to achieve the topmost perfection of spiritual life. within the next 7 days. 7 days topmost perfection. King is retiring, a dollar and cents person, involved in so many material affairs, politics, diplomacy, administration, punishing criminals. He has to disentangle himself from all that. It takes time. 7 days is very less time. So they all began to wonder, 7 days time he wants perfection? So there began a big discussion among the saintly persons. What should we tell him? He is very humbly requesting, please guide me. And they want to guide him. But how will they guide him? 7 days? Very less time. So they began discussing among themselves, and they don't have a solution. 7 days perfection. Most of them, all of them, not possible. Nahi hoga. Perfection nahi hoga. You can practice, you can make advancement, but we can't guarantee you will achieve the perfection. Going back to Godhead. But what happened? When this discussion was going on, suddenly Shukadeva Goswami walked into that assembly. And how was Shukadeva Goswami appearing at that time? He is walking naked like a madman, surrounded by urchins. And then suddenly, everybody's attention is drawn towards Shukadeva Goswami when he's coming to that assembly. Who is this person? But some of the saintly persons who had arrived there, they are not saintly persons of this earth planet. In fact, Bhagavatam says many of them had come from the upper planetary systems, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Brahmaloka. And some of them had come on the plea of going on a pilgrimage, traveling on a pilgrimage. Generally, the Shastras describe a conditioned soul will go on a pilgrimage to purify his heart of material contamination. But some of these saints who had come there to that holy place, they had the potency of purifying contaminated places by their presence, mere presence. Shukadeva Goswami himself was such a saint. Anyway, so such people had, on the plea of going on a pilgrimage, come to that place. Why had they come? They had come to hear Bhagavatam. From whom? From the greatest transcendentalist of their time, Shukadeva Goswami. How did they know? They were Trikalagnyas. They know past, present, future. They knew that Shukadeva Goswami is going to speak the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and they came to hear. So these saintly persons, they recognize Shukadeva Goswami. He's come to speak to Parikshit Maharaj. So they stood up, and with great respect, they welcomed Shukadeva Goswami to that assembly. All the other saintly persons who are discussing and what to do, they suddenly realized, oh, he is a Avadhuta. Avadhuta means a very, very exalted personality, saintly person, who does not follow conventional rules of dressing, appearing like a saintly person. So they recognize that these saintly persons are welcoming him. So they all stood up in great respect. And Parikshit Maharaj, even though he was a king and very humbly submitted to the saintly persons, kindly guide me, he went and received Shukadeva Goswami, offered him a seat of respect and began to worship him. That means Parikshit Maharaj also recognized Shukadeva Goswami. And then the first canto describes. You see, my point is that Shukadeva Goswami, greatest transcendentalist, only business is speaking Bhagavatam. Otherwise, he's absorbed in thinking of Krishna. Manmana. Krishna says, think of me always. He is the perfection of that instruction of Krishna. Always absorbed in thinking of Krishna. So, the topmost devotee, the topmost saintly person in the whole universe, he cannot be recognized neither by his appearance, nor by his activities, external activities, nor by the companies he is walking in, nor by his dress. So, therefore, Prabhupada says, a saintly person is not to be recognized by such external characteristics. The best way to recognize a saintly person is by hearing the words that come out of his lotus mouth. Shukamukhad amrita drava samyutam. Shukadeva Goswami is glorified in the beginning of the Bhagavatam by the author himself, Vyasadeva. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shukamukhad amrita drava samyutam. Vyasadeva is speaking to the readers of the Bhagavatam, the hearers of the Bhagavatam, that you can relish the transcendental mellows of pure devotional service simply by hearing these words spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. Even though the Bhagavatam, compiled by Vyasadeva, is the most ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge, still, when it came out of the lips of Shukadeva Goswami, that which was already relishable became more relishable. Amrita. Amrita is that nectarian thing which is relishable. But Amrita became Drava Samyutam. What is this Drava Samyutam? Just like you can eat different types of sweets like barfis and cakes and all that. But among all these sweets, there is a special sweet. All these are relishable. They're very nice. But one sweet, to give an example, just a crude example, Mysore Pak. And that too made by Krishna Sweets in Coimbatore. What is the speciality about that Mysore Pak? You place it on your tongue, it tastes great, but immediately it melts off. And you just swallow it. You don't have to chew it and get the rasa, nothing. But when they give you, it is solid. You place it on your tongue, it is liquid. What is this wonderful thing? No effort. So Bhagavatam is become that which is already relishable, become more relishable. Drava Samyutam, he has become liquefied. The solid Srimad Bhagavatam has become liquefied for you to taste that nectarian mellows of pure devotional service of bhakti, bhakti rasa, amrita, has become like that. It's because it came out of the lips of Shukadev Goswami. And what is Shukadev Goswami's qualification? The topmost transcendentalist of his time. Topmost transcendentalist of his time. So therefore, Vritrasura's words which are coming out of his mouth, even though he can't be recognized, he is in Asura's body and he's standing to fight against the demigods. Can't recognize him. He's a great devotee. But the words he's speaking, what are the words he's speaking? Persons who fully surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always think of his lotus feet are accepted and recognized by the Lord as his own personal assistants or servants. Indra is hearing this. What is this he's speaking? Indra is a devotee. So Indra can make out, oh, this Vritrasura is no demon. It's not a demon. So, this is a fact. Vritrasura is clearly distinguishing between two kinds of devotees of the Lord. Sakama Bhakta, Nishkama Bhakta. So, Sakama Bhaktas, they are devotees. Bhakta, they are Bhakta. But they have some material desires to be fulfilled for the devotional service they perform to the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders, I reciprocate. I reward them accordingly. So, those Sakama Bhaktas who perform devotional service to Krishna, Krishna fulfills their desires. What about Nishkama Bhaktas? They don't have any desires. Actually, Nishkama Bhaktas, when they actually perform devotional service, Krishna is always at a loss. What reward do I give them? What reward do I give them? They don't want anything from me. They don't want anything from me. They're nishkama. Then why are they rendering service? Sakam Bhakta is very clear. They're rendering service because they have some desires to be fulfilled, and Krishna fulfills their desires, rewards them accordingly. Yes. So, Krishna says actually to the gopis that your devotional service is most glorious among all my devotees who perform devotional service to me. Your devotional service is so glorious that I have nothing in my possession which I can give you, which can match the value of your service. I am bankrupt. I am pauper. So, Krishna tells the gopis, headed by Radharani, that may your own glorious service be your reward. And that's why Krishna himself comes as Chaitanya and is always engaged in glorifying Krishna. Always engaged in glorifying Krishna. He himself comes to glorify Krishna, to teach us. That's that even higher than the highest devotional service in which there is some expectation, even spiritual expectations. So even though devotees are called Nishkama Bhaktas, among these Nishkama Bhaktas, Nishkama means they don't have any material desires. But there are some special Nishkama Bhaktas. They don't even want the 4 kinds of Vaishnava liberation. There are 5 kinds of liberation. One which is desired by the impersonalists. Sayujya Mukti. Vaishnavas never want Sayujya Mukti. It's hellish for Vaishnavas. But Vaishnavas, some of them, they may desire 4 other kinds of mukti. Sashti, Sarupya, Samipya, and Salokya. But there are even other kinds of Vaishnavas. They don't even want these 4 kinds of mukti. Then why are you doing devotional service? Krishna, we only want you to be pleased with our service. If you are pleased, we are completely satisfied with the service we render to you. And if we can't please you, then we will see, how can I please you? How can I please you? What should I do to please you? What should I do to please you? Please, Krishna, guide me, show me the way. What can I do to please you? This Nishkama Bhakta of the highest order. These are the personal associates of Krishna in Brajadhama and personal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip Dhama. Non-different. They two different roles. So Vritrasura is a Nishkama Bhakta of the highest order. Therefore, he says, persons who fully surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always think of his lotus feet are accepted and recognized by the Lord as his own personal assistants or servants. And what is the speciality of such devotees? The Lord never bestows upon his servants the brilliant opulence of the upper, lower and middle planetary systems of this world. Now, Prabhupada says a very, very particular point he makes in the purport, that a karmi's possessions are achieved as a result of karma, but those of a devotee are arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead just to facilitate the devotee's devotional activities. See, if the Lord never bestows upon pure devotees who don't even want liberation, does not bestow any material opulences. If a devotee has some material opulence, then we wonder why is this devotee having material opulences? If he's a pure devotee, he doesn't want them. And the Lord never bestows. So Prabhupada clarifies, just to facilitate his devotional activities. So the corollary for this is that if we want to serve the Lord, simply by engaging whatever is there in our possession in the service of the Lord, we automatically become detached from all our possessions. So merely just because somebody has got some material possessions, one should not conclude that the person having material possessions is a attached materialist. No. if that person, in spite of having material opulences, engages entirely all those opulences in pure devotional service to please Krishna, then that person's opulences are not like those possessed by a karmi, but they are actually facilities given by the Lord to his devotee simply so that the devotee may engage them in the Lord's pure devotional service. So those who are dedicated for serving Krishna in pure devotional service, always be cautious that whatever you may have, as Prabhupada says, this Prabhupada statement, not a farthing should be used in sense gratification. So we take care. It's not that we are prohibited from having money in our hands or having some facilities. But all these are meant exclusively for the preaching mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Srila Prabhupada, Acharya's preaching mission. So that care if we take, then will not become attached. And Sakama Bhaktas, even if they render devotional service, the Lord rewards them according to their desires. The result of getting such rewards from the Lord is that it simply increases their enmity, anxiety, mental agitation, pride, belligerence, all these bad qualities keep on increasing. They are doing devotional service to get rid of this pride, get rid of their bad qualities. But the reward the Lord is giving, according to their desire, is not serving the purpose. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagarisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware bhavatal bhakti rahitu kitvai. That's why always don't desire anything. Even spiritual opulence, please don't desire. Of course, spiritual opulence is never entangling, never resulting in any misery, nothing. Guaranteed liberation, even if you have spiritual opulences, if you desire spiritual opulence. But it is not the highest standard of pure devotional service. Not even liberation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us. Bhagavatam teaches us that. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.